What's up, Facebook Live? It looks like they changed something on here. Let's see. Well, guess we'll find out. We're building an audience for you. Cool. Well, welcome everyone. Hopefully you're having an amazing evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on where in the world you are tuning in from. I'm going to jump on here real quick. Welcome. As you're tuning in, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know 3 things that you are grateful for. Hey, this looks pretty cool. Let me see if I can share this in a few places real quick and get a handful of more people to come and join us tonight. In a group. Welcome. As you're tuning in, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know 3 things you are grateful for. Jane Marie, thank you for that. Grateful for your son, grateful for your marriage. I'm loving it. Grateful for Boston, from Boston. Welcome. Let's see, in a group. Welcome. As you're tuning in, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and 3 things you are grateful for. Grateful for being Tony's crew member. That's awesome. Thank you for your service and helping out there. Hello from New York. Catch you later. Need your earphones. Fair enough. Let's see. Share. Colorado Springs. Grateful for family, health, family, and people supporting your endeavors. Awesome. I love it. Share on my timeline. This is pretty cool. I think Facebook changed this up just a little bit. It looks pretty snazzy. Well done, Facebook. Hello from California. Grateful for my health, beautiful sunsets, and life in general. Welcome, Mike. Holly Spring, North Carolina. Grateful for family, health, newfound inspiration. Kelly, nice to see you. Jason, hello. Grateful for life, friends, and your kids. Awesome. So as you're tuning in, I see that number ticking up. I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I would love to know 3 things you are grateful for. And if you wouldn't mind, share it right down here in that comment section, whatever works for you there. Tonight we're going to be talking about 2 important things that's really, honestly, important for most people, especially if you're an entrepreneur. This is a game changer to have this in your arsenal of approaches in your business. But if you're not an entrepreneur, or you're someone who just has an entrepreneurial spirit, or you're someone who works a normal, standard office, corporate job, this is also something you really want to have access to in your nervous system, so that if you hit a moment where your bills seem to be more than your bank account, Caleb, what's up, dude? Welcome. So that if your bills seem to be more than your bank account, you can literally learn how to generate revenue now. And I want to give you that freedom and ability. And it's something I had to learn at a young age. And it's something that's really been useful throughout my career and throughout life. And I'll give you a couple examples and stories of how this applies and how traditionally it might have built into cultural aspects. And also knowing your trade, what gifts you have inside of you. Sue, nice to see you. That you're able to offer to the world, that if I were to pick you up, take you somewhere you've never been, and put you there with, you don't know anyone, you don't have any of your resources, you don't have anything that you have with you right now, and I would just drop you in your outfit you're wearing right now in this neighborhood. Mike, hopefully you're wearing a decent outfit over there. But if I were to pick you up and drop you to somewhere you've never been with people you don't know, and you might not even speak the language or be connected locally, how long would it take you to be able to add so much value in the community that you'd be able to not only sustain yourself, but you'd be a valued member of that community and be able to deliver so much value that you could take care of yourself, your family, your loved ones, and everyone around you. And I want to make sure that you feel certain by the end of this conversation that you know exactly what talents or gifts or value you have to offer, and exactly how to go about giving it and sharing it in a way that you would be able to produce the life you want on demand, or at least produce enough to get you moving in the momentum and in the moment that you would feel confident that it will turn out in your favor over time. Let's see. Ori, nice to see you, tuning in from Israel. Well, welcome. Grateful for the opportunities in front of me The challenges on the way, the outstanding amount of great teachers out there. You know where to look for them. Awesome. Joetta, nice to see you. Grateful for being able to make a difference this weekend, especially for Basket Brigade across Florida. Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, welcome. I see that number fluctuating as people are tuning in, so I'd love to know as you're tuning in, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know 3 things you are grateful for. Feel free to toss them right down here or over there or there in the comment section, depending on where you're tuning in from. So let's get started. What I'd love to know really quickly is back in the day, and we actually did I believe we did a Jairek TV episode on this real quick. Jairek, Robbins, knowing your trade. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think this is it. Patty, tuning in, working out on the elliptical. Hopefully you are crushing it and having fun. I'll see if I can find this blog in a little bit. I'm pretty sure I did an episode on Jairek TV about this, but the concept basically is all of us, and I know there's an episode in Rapid Results Formula 2.0 program about this exact topic, but what's interesting, a lot of us realize that when we get out of school and we go out into the world, we have this moment where we try to figure out what is our time worth, what value can we add in society. And let's go a little bit old school on this. I remember my dad and I went and took a trip to go see the gorillas in Rwanda, and while we were there, we stopped and saw a Maasai tribe. And as we were hanging out in the Maasai tribe, talking to the son of the village leader, we asked them, like, what things happen in their community, and what are some, really important traditional elements of growing up in a tribe, a tribe that moves, a migratory tribe, and they move because of their cows and grazing and stuff like that. And as we were talking to them, one thing he said, well, here's really interesting. There's a rites of passage that exists for young men specifically in our village. Because the way a Maasai tribe, village works is in the very ring of the middle, it's a circular village, and in the very center of the village is a kind of a stable, a ring for cows. So they corral all the cows in the middle. Then around the cows, the women build these beautiful little houses around, these little huts, where the women and the children sleep. Then there's a big thicket fence that goes around the women and children, and it's made out of like thorny sticks and stuff. And outside of there, the men sleep on the ground at night to protect the village against lions who usually try to come and eat the cows. And so the men have to be able to defend the village against a lion, and they usually just have a spear to do so. And so traditionally, if you're a man in that village, you have to be able to sleep outside of the fence and defend the community against lions, and that's seen as valuable to the community, and you have to be able to hunt and do stuff like that. And so here's what's interesting. At 14 years old, what they do to transition the young boys into men in the community is the men will dress up, and they'll do war paint and all kinds of stuff, and they'll sneak up at 2 a.m, and they'll grab a young boy by his ankles in his hut and pull him out and put a sack over his head and tie him up, and they'll drag them out to the forest. And when they do this, all the women scream bloody murder, like he's gonna get killed, and the evil village came and kidnapped him, and they're gonna kill my son. Oh my God, he's gonna die! And they drag him out to the forest. And once they get him out in the middle of nowhere, they pull the thing off his head, and he realizes it's his dad, his uncle, his brother, his cousin, and all kinds of people around him that he knows. And he goes, oh my God, thank God I didn't die. and so while he's there, here's what happens next. They have a ceremony, they light a fire, they do this whole traditional thing, and then they say at 14 years old, we're going to leave the boys out here in the forest. Usually there's a handful, but let's say they're going to leave you by yourself out in the middle of the forest at 14 for a year, 12 months, to learn how to defend yourself, provide for yourself, produce for yourself, eat, sleep, hunt, all the things that you need to necessarily do in order to really successfully thrive back in the community when you come back to the community. And it's like, interesting. And so pausing right there, what I've noticed there aren't any rites of passage that exist right now for young people to make this transition from being in their youth to being in adulthood, if you want to call it, or from being a boy to a man or girl to a woman. There's no real transitionary period that allows them to experience that developmental process and transition into where they're now called to be of value to society. Now, some people innately are born with this stuff and they don't need some rites of passage. They're just always looking for a way to contribute, always looking for a way to be of value to people, their family, community, everything. Other people, on the other hand, Alan, nice to see you. Other people, on the other hand, they never figure this out, and they need some type of rites of passage experience to show up in their life and kind of whap them upside the head and wake them up to realize that, hey, you got to figure out how to provide for yourself. You have to figure out how to be productive. You have to figure out how to defend yourself. You have to figure out how to be of value to society. And so I've learned, and I have a few coaching clients right now who need to get walloped upside the head because they're not going through any of these rites of passage, and there's no one in their life nudging them or pushing them or advising them or helping them in any way to do so. If anything, they're being coddled and taken care of by other people who care about them, that's actually hindering them from growing and developing into the man or woman they need to become in the process. So with this, I'd start by asking you, and I'm going to share mine real quick of what I think I went through that helped me in this process, but I'd love to know for you specifically, what do you feel at this stage of your life has been your rite of passage that helped you develop from the mindset of a boy or girl into the mindset of a man or woman? What helped you transition and understand the responsibility of the difference and help you transition mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and over that ledge to where now you own that responsibility at a whole different level? And so I'll tell you my experience. My experience started off with, I wanted to do a trip called Semester at Sea, which is this awesome 100-day voyage all the way around the world. You get to stop in 10 different countries, do university classes while you're on board this cruise ship, 700 students. It's an awesome experience. But to do that, I sat down with my dad, and we came up with this concept where he said, hey, I really want you to learn. He said, looking at you as a young man or boy, I looked at your greatest strengths as your caring, your heart, your willingness to help, all these great things. And he said, I've also seen some of your greatest weaknesses. And he said, I don't know if you'd agree with me if these are weaknesses, but I just want to give you some honest, true feedback of what I feel could be some of your weaknesses and see what we can do to strengthen them and help you get better and more well-rounded. And so what we decided was, he said, hey, I want to invite you to come up to Canada and do 3 months of working at Grandpa's lumberyard, or a lumberyard Grandpa used to be a part of. And Lexi, nice to see you. Kermit, nice to see you. Alan, leaving negative feet behind helps, certainly does. And so I moved up to Canada, and one thing that we did is for 3 months, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, worked out for an hour, running and lifting weights, ate breakfast, drove to the side of the freeway, got picked up by a van of workers. We drove an hour to the lumberyard, got dropped off, stacked lumber from 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. At 5, got in the van, drove an hour and a half back to the car, 20 minutes back to the house, another hour in the gym, ate dinner, passed out, woke up, did it again, 6 days a week for 3 months. And that process of going through a very hard, laborious job. Now, I realize for those of you who grew up, and I have friends who grew up as corn farmers in Iowa, and they're like, son, that sounds like every day of my life. And so I get it. There's other things much harder than that. But for me, I grew up in a city in San Diego. The hardest work I had done was like helping Grandpa in the backyard move a bunch of bricks or, cut trees and stuff. So I really didn't have that hard laborious type experience as a job. And so doing that for 3 months, in the beginning, I was there to prove myself and show them how strong I was. Halfway through, I thought I was stupid for committing to this, and it was a total waste of time. And I thought I was, it was ridiculous for me to be doing this my time. And at the end, I was really proud of myself that I was able to realize, A, I can do really hard work. B, I never want to do that kind of work again as my job. But see, if I ever had to, I know I'd be able to kick some butt at it. And one thing that was really humbling and heartfelt in the process was at the very end, my step-grandpa came up to me and he said, hey, I've been showing up, and I don't know if you've seen me, but I've been watching you to see how you're performing. And he said, listen, you're a hard worker, and you know you're willing to put in the effort, and you push the rest of the guys. He said, if you ever need a job, you've always got one here, son. And I was like, wow, what a stamp of approval. And he's a no bullshit, straight up kind of guy. So it was very nice to feel that at the end. Now, from there, so that's the first step of my kind of rites of passage year, if I were to sum this up. From there, 3 months of hard work, I got to go on this awesome, cruise ship around the world. And again, rites of passage, going around the world and experiencing how all other types of cultures really live, whether it was China or Japan, India, Thailand, seeing some of the poorest of the poor, some really wealthy situations, some amazing history, but culturizing with the world and realizing how much is out there and how different it is. Getting to go into the favelas in Brazil, getting to see the shanty towns in South Africa, and realize, wow, life is really, really different for a lot of people on this planet. Getting to hear about some of the moral and ethical atrocities that happen in other parts of the world, genocide that occurred in places, getting to meet people who lived through some of these horrific times and moments in life, and realizing, wow, what a blessing it is to be where I'm at, and how amazing these people can be so happy and strong and healthy and resilient after going through so much. But it started to open up the perspective. Then from there, came back from semester at sea, and I felt like, man, I got to go do something to help in the world. So I decided to go volunteer and live in a village for, it was supposed to be 6 months, but it turned out to be 3 months, and teach organic farming and teach English in a rural farming village in Uganda. And so I went and did that. And in that process, between 3 months of hard laborious work, 3 months of traveling the world and seeing and experiencing so much of what's out there and opening my eyes and heart and soul to how everyone else on the planet really lives, and 3 months of going back and doing volunteer work in a developing nation with no running water, no electricity, no toilets, the combination of that helped me realize, one, what value could I tangibly, physically add to people's lives in a village I've never been to, with a language I don't speak, and figure out what can I do to better this community and better these people's lives. So much so that they gave me a place to live, they provided me food, they gave us tools and supplies, and the community took care of us because we were taking care of them. Not only that, if I have to work hard and I'm in a position that I really have to force myself to put in the effort in a very radically uncomfortable position consistently over time, and not only survive it, but excel at it, I was like, wow, 3 months of hard physical labor, I know I can do it. It's not fun, it's not easy, it hurts like hell. I've never been so physically sore in my entire life, but I know I can do it, and I know I can do it well. Not only that, experiencing the world, realizing there's so many different ways you could be living in so many different places and so many different experiences. Alan, that's nice of you. I'm not looking for that. What I'm trying to represent here for you was this was a sort of rites of passage that I went through over about a 12-month period of time here that allowed me to experience all these different pieces of life that caused my brain to realize, one, I have many different trades and value I can offer to the world and community around me. Oh, one other thing. On semester at sea, when we went to Thailand, I spent a week in a village in Thailand, rural farming village, teaching English in return for a place to live and 2 meals a day. And I was like, wow, I could go teach English somewhere in return for getting fed and having a place to live. How cool. That same organization, I think, charges $20 a month with a 3-month commitment now. It's called Voluntai. And so what's amazing is looking through these factors. It's the ability to look at life and say, wow, I have gifts within me that I can offer to the community in a way that I can produce value for others. I can reap the benefits and rewards of value in return for the service or gift or trade I'm offering. And I can do it so well with such effort and tenacity that I can expand what I'm trying to do. And so, as I'm throwing this out there as thoughts to consider, this piece is for other young people to realize, and older people too, if you've never done this, to figure out, A, what has your rites of passage been? And I saw a couple examples. Let me see if I can scroll here. Jack says, moving away and out of my comfort zone. Doing so allowed me to experience other things. It taught me to rely on myself, becoming the man and leaving the boy behind. Wonderful. Merrick says, amazing. I'm a builder and sometimes wonder how great it would be to go over there and help with my skills. Well done, Jared. Do it. It'll be a beautiful, 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 warm experience that it's very difficult to replace in any other way. Trinidad, when can you please offer your service for my village of people back home? Please offer your volunteer service. So I'm no longer at this stage of life, but young people, my community can provide, exactly. So there you go. Here's a village that if someone really wants to go make a difference, as I believe it's in Pakistan, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you really want to go make a difference, you can go live in this village. They'd be happy to provide two meals a day and a place to stay, and in return for teaching English locally. It's beautiful, and there's that opportunity in so many places around the world where it's a very underprivileged region that needs the help, and if you're able to go do it, there's beautiful return from it, and you can live in a beautiful place and have a beautiful experience of life. And so the reason I bring this up is because there's lots of people out there that struggle in this process of having total certainty inside of their mind and body that says, you can literally put me anywhere on earth. Like, you can take me right now, and I have total certainty. You could pick me up, leave everything behind, drop me off in a place I've never been, with a language I don't speak, with a community I've never met before, and within a few days, I can walk around and find ways to add value in the community, so much so, I'll have a place to live, I'll have food and meals to eat, I'll have the ability to make a positive, impactful difference in the community, so much so that they'll receive value, I'll receive value, and I'll be able to create the life I want out of it. And so my question to you is 0 to 10, 10 being absolutely, totally certain you can do it, 0 is, I really don't think it would work out in my favor. 0 to 10, how certain are you, listening right now, how certain are you that if we were to take you to a place you've never been, in a community you've never been a part of, with a language you don't speak, with a group of people you've never met, how certain are you that you could do the same? And this isn't a bravado thing. I'm not trying to say, well, I can do something you can't do. Of course you could do it, but how certain are you that you could do it? There's nothing special about my talents. I just figured out how to take what I know and how to figure out how to offer that service to the community. So Christopher says 10. Awesome. Alan says 10, and I mean it. Not only 10, Christopher, 10, and he means it. Rachel says 10. Wonderful. So I like seeing this confidence and this certainty. So here's the next question. How do you relate this? Monica says, I have done it before. High five. That might be an okay sign. So with this thought process, if you've already done it, if you feel you have a 10 in confidence, first off, high five, good work and great confidence. Here's my next question. Absolutely 10. When there is a need, I have a way to fulfill it. Awesome. So here's my next question. Have you been able to translate this confidence and certainty that you can deliver value into producing revenue on demand within your own business or within the community? Because this is important. It's a translation. Because if I can take you to a place you've never been and you can walk out in the community, say, where's the greatest need here? I can help with that. I'm going to go do it. And you walk over and deliver in that moment. And you deliver so well in that moment that they find great value in what you're offering. And they want to exchange, trade basically. That's what a trade was considered. Where they're able to trade with you your service for their service or their, whatever it is, the basic level. Have you been able to translate that into saying, hey, here's the value I add in my business, and I'm able to walk into the community, look around where the need is, where it's needed, take my trade, offer it to you or the community members, and you see enough value in it that you go, okay, and you immediately make a transaction with me in that moment. It's the same exact thing. Now here's what's interesting. I have an odd hallucination that a lot of people who tune into this stuff, with me specifically, have big hearts and they care, because I talk about stuff like this. And if you didn't care, you probably wouldn't be here. But if you do and you're around, a lot of big-hearted people where we feel that we can go help and we can go make a difference. And of course, if there's a need, I can fill that need. But then we fail to translate that into our business and say, my business serves a community need. There's a need for people to perform better at what they're doing. Therefore, I feel passionate about sharing that with individuals. And I'm so passionate and I'm so certain that I can deliver for you that when there's an opportunity for me to say, hey, I can help you, you come back and go, okay, and that transaction happens where you know you're absolutely going to get served at the highest level, and I know it's a fair transaction to make with the service that I'm offering. Let's see. Lexi says, welcome to Dubai. Lexi says, interesting question. Jack says, if you have passion in what you do and it brings value to your own life, you can easily show others the need and how you can easily provide fulfillment of that need. Wonderful. Rachel says, yes, created a business by developing swimming programs in indigenous communities in Australia, and so kids can swim safely. That's beautiful. What if your skills in your business are different? Ooh, good question. So, also, I'll spin off that a little bit, Monica. Great question. But let's say your skills of what you want to offer to the community and what you do as your quote-unquote day job are different. So let's say not just your business, but let's say your day job. Let's say you have a normal 9-to-5 day job, and then you have a set of skills. And your day job, let's say you're an accountant, and your skills have to do with, let's take Rachel's example, or where did that other example? Oh yeah, Rachel. So let's say Rachel's example, her skills are teaching young people how to swim, but let's say her day job is an accountant. Well, how would that match up? Here's the beautiful part of it. Let's say 1 month, you're working, and you get towards the end of the month, and all of a sudden you look at your bank account, and you look at your bills, and there's more bills than money in your bank account. You go, oh shoot, dang it. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever been there. I've certainly done this myself. Or if you're a great, forecaster, you look at your forecast of revenue coming up over the next few months on your spreadsheet and go, oh shoot, we have X spending and Y revenue. That's not enough. We need to make more this next month for Christmas, for the holidays. Wink, wink. If you catch on why I would talk about this now, let's say you need to generate more revenue for the next few months of your life for whatever reason. Now would be a good time to look at your trade, your skill sets you have beyond your day job, beyond your normal business, and say, what value do I have to offer to the community around me that I would be able to monetize fairly and effectively and efficiently that will allow me to generate so much value for them that they would easily be able to trade me or generate revenue for me and my family, that I could take this and do good with it for my family, for my community, for people in need, or for wherever else you want to use it. Now, if you're able to translate that skill, you give yourself total certainty that if at any point you're ever running low on funds, within the next 24 to 48 hours, you could take that value you have inside of you out to the world, you could share it in a valuable way with the community, and you would be rewarded for doing so, so much so that it would close the gap immediately of whatever was missing or not quite at the abundance you needed in that bank account or wherever you needed it. That thought process, that's why I wanted to link this up for you. Now, going all the way back, most people have never had that transitional experience in life. Therefore, because they've never had to cross over that bridge and really go out into the world and figure out what of value they have to offer, and they've never had the experience of realizing how valuable the skill sets they have are, that when it comes to crunch time and they absolutely need to generate revenue now, not a month from now, not 30 days from now, not 15 days from now, literally within 48 hours, 24 hours, they're lacking the ability that they can show up, deliver value, and boom, generate the revenue now. And so just a little hint of where you can find opportunities like that. A lot of times nowadays, they're not sitting around. There's no program that takes young people or any people at this stage and helps them make this wild transition in life. It doesn't exist right now that I know of, and therefore you have to kind of create your own. You have to sit down and say, wow, what could I do? Where could I go? And someone put earlier, I'm a builder. I always thought it would be neat to go there and build. There you go. It'd be a wonderful opportunity. Maybe just do it for a week or two, but go out there a month and hands-on. I mean, one of my favorite things that when I was there, they taught us how to make ovens out of mud. It was pretty wild. So they taught us how to mix the mud properly, how to do this stuff, and how to shape and mold an oven that we can make inside someone's house. And then from there, how to build a chimney so that the smoke goes out of their hut and it doesn't cause, smoke inhalation inside. It's pretty remarkable. And so that's what I want to chat with tonight. Hopefully this is useful for you. If you have any questions about this thought or anything like that, feel free to ask them. If you found this useful, please click the little thumbs button or the hearts or whatever those things are. Thank you for all those little floating by. Also, if you know someone who needs to hear this, what I'm talking about right now, click the share button and tell them why they need to come tune in and check this out. I'd really appreciate that. Let's see, there's a couple more comments coming through. Make sure I'm not missing any. Hi Sherry, nice to see you. So hopefully this was useful. I just want to do a quick short little episode for tonight. I think dinner is ready with my wife. I'm going to be on for another couple minutes here. If you have any questions you want to ask or topics you want me to cover quickly, I'd be happy to do so. But if not, I'm going to go grab dinner with my wife and hang out for the evening. Jack, thank you. You're welcome. Hopefully this is kind of a useful thread. Making that transition, figuring out what value you have to add, really going out into the world and putting it to the test. Oh, here's the other part, little caveat I throw out there. Lots of people up here go, oh yeah, I could totally do that. Have you ever done it? And they're like, well, you see, the thing is, and they never do it. and so the thought is, if you're certain you can do it, I challenge you in the next 30 days, go do it somewhere. Go take the value you have inside of you, find somewhere to apply it, and go apply it. And do it so that you give yourself total certainty. Like, I don't have mental certainty because I think I can. I have certainty because I've literally gone to villages, taught English, and done the trade where they give me a place to stay and food to eat. And I'm like, wow, I can do this. I've just done it. I've gone and done the hard work that I know if you put me in a place that I have to work hard, I can absolutely perform even when it hurts, when I'm tired, when it's difficult. I can absolutely perform. I've done it before. And I've done, far harder than hopefully I'll ever have to do again. But that thought. Monica says, Jairek, what's your 33% rule? Eric keeps going on about it. So 33%. 33% of your community should be at the exact same level or kind of same stage of life you're at. So however you qualify levels or stages in your business, in your health, in your finance, all this stuff, 33% of your peer group should be at the exact same place you are, so you can kind of trade stories of what's working and what's not right now. 33% ideally would be a few steps ahead of you in the process because they can show you what works in the next few steps of what you're trying to accomplish. And 33% should be maybe a couple steps behind you in the process so you can share with them what's working and help them continue to move forward. So that's the 33% rule. Let's see. Ellen, what are your favorite 3 books ever? Oh man, I've got lists and lists and lists of books. If you want some great resources, you can go to performancecoachuniversity.com/ let me check the link real quick. These are some of my favorites that we talk about at our Performance Coach University trainings when we go out. And coachuniversity.com. I think it's this. Let me check. Yeah. So when we go speak at organizations about maximizing personal and professional performance, these are some of our favorite resources that we use in our current training and presentation. So Alan, if you want to check that out, Maximizing Performance Resources is the page. And it has some books, some programs, some courses that we pull information from for this training that we do. So you check that out. Rachel, who's the performance coaching course for that you're offering? Thank you for asking. That course is for people who want to be a coach. So if you want to be a high performance coach and coach individuals on maximizing their personal performance, it's for that group. It's for managers, leaders, or people who run or manage a team within an organization. So a manager, a project manager, an executive, and a leader, anyone in the company that's in charge of managing people, a sales manager, where if we can teach you the tools that I use specifically with our clients on increasing their performance, you can take those tools with your team and help maximize their performance. And so that program specifically for those two groups, people who want to become a life coach or performance coach, who want to work with individuals and use that as their profession, or people who are working within an organization that would like to learn how to better maximize and influence their team to maximum performance. So that's who that program is built for. If you click that link, a little pop-up will pop up on the page, and it will, let me check real quick. We have a free training that we have running every single day on there. So if you go to Coach Resources, there's there's 2 webinars that we have going on right now that we have teaching every day. One is free training for leaders and managers. So if you're a leader or a manager, there's a free hour-long, I think it's a little over an hour-long training up that we go through exactly for leaders and managers how to use these tools. And if you're someone who wants to become a coach and use that as your profession, then there's free training for coaches, and it's a same material but slightly different way of using it, and we show you how to do so, and that's about an hour-long training as well. So there's 2 free trainings. That link is in the comments. It's Performance Coach University. Alan, for the books, if you go to performancecoachuniversity.com/resources, again, it's in the comment section here. It has a whole list, and some of my favorite books there. Sleep Better is all about maximizing your sleep and how well that can affect your performance. Mindset book by Carol Dweck, how important growth versus fixed mindset is. There's a link on how to test your mindset on that page to know if you have a fixed or growth mindset. Happiness Advantage, that's all the research done by Sean Anker and the groups at Harvard and Yale and Stanford on happiness and how to get there. Rachel, you're welcome. Happier book, it's another great book by Ben Tal-Shahar. Wim Hof Breathing, game changer. If you haven't done it, it helps fight off disease, boosts adrenaline without stress, so super performance. Muse Meditation, we use it with all of our clients to track their brain waves as far as meditation is concerned and make sure they're improving. Spiro's Breath Tracker, we use it to track breathing patterns that can tell you if you're stressed, calm, or tense at any moment throughout the day. Very useful. Egoscue for structural alignment. Living Health for nutrition. Our book, Live It, for designing your ideal day. And then Grit by Angela Duckworth for consistent passion and purpose over time. So those are our favorite things for maximizing performance as far as tools and resources. But all that stuff we go through in Performance Coach University and how to train other people and get them to apply the material to get the results they really desire. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up for the night. Go grab dinner with my wife. I hope this is useful. If you found it to be useful, click the share button. Tell someone what they might learn by checking this out. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.